Welcome to The Secrets of Success. By following the proven techniques of the guests who appear on this series, you'll learn that even successful people run into detours and failures, and how you can apply their success techniques to change your life.
You're now listening to the most unique show on radio, the show dedicated to making you a success. Want the insider's guide to your credit score? Then listen to the advice of Anthony Davenport, author of Your Score. Anthony, thanks for being with us today.
Anthony, Bill, great to be here.
Anthony, before we start, I want to tell our audience, if you were ever going to have a pencil handy, you will want it for this interview. There's going to be a lot of tips about your credit score that can literally save you thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dollars. And this applies to, I think, everyone in our audience, unless you come from Mars or you're living in a cave or somehow you avoid credit. But, Anthony, you're the expert, so you're going to tell us. Starting out, what is the credit score? Where do they fit in? Is it, we know kind of if we go to school, 70 is kind of on the borderline, and 80 is a B, maybe a 90 is a A, and then an A+. Where do credit scores fit in?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny because people know that good credit is important, but no one really knows what that definition is, and they don't know an exact score. And when I'm teaching seminars, I ask people what's considered an A+ credit score, and the answers are all over the place. But the shortcut answer is 740 or higher FICO score is considered an A+. That's where you want to go. The range goes from 300 on the low end all the way up to 850 on the high end. But if you have above a 740, you're in good shape.
So 740 is kind of the number we want. I guess that's like the 88 or 90 on a grade in school.
That's a 90.
That's a 90. Okay, good.
You're getting an A. You're getting an A, if you have a 740.
Now, the something I also read in your book, and this surprised me, that these scores are very arbitrary and inaccurate, but there's a basic reason for that. So can you fill us in on that?
Yeah, so people mistakenly believe that the credit system is set up to try to accurately gauge how risky it is to lend money to someone, but it's really not. It exists to make as much money off of us as humanly possible, and they have figured out a system where now, whether you're rich, you're poor, you're black, you're white, Muslim, Jewish, whatever, they can now put you in the same boat and make as much money off of you as humanly possible. So a key thing that doesn't go into your FICO score are your income and assets. That has nothing to do with whether you're likely to pay back the loan, according to them. But in reality, that is a very important factor, is whether or not you can pay back a loan. So you have to look at beyond why the system exists, and it exists to make money, not to accurately determine how much of a credit risk you really are.
And I think you mentioned in the book, it's really an adversarial relationship to take advantage of us. I think those are your words. Am I correct?
Yeah, so I was a banker for nearly 10 years at places like Bank of America and Wells Fargo. And, now I'm atoning for my sins. I'm helping consumers understand the whole system. But, yeah, I would see that people would walk in and say, give me a loan. And basically my job is to figure out how to get them into something and then try to make as much money for myself and for the bank as possible. So you have to really arm yourself with the information and the rules of the game so that you are better prepared to get the best deal, instead of just blindly hoping that you'll get the best deal because you simply pay your bills on time.
Now, Anthony, too, I read in your book, your clients range from the regular Joes and Janes, like most of us. You have clients literally with $40-50 million in assets.
I actually have billionaires.
Okay, even more then.
For different things.
Well, then I thank you for talking to me.
Sports teams, Yeah. I mean, we have our client list surprises a lot of people because they assume that only people without money ever need help managing their credit. But because we are all caught into this system where credit is being used to determine everything from not just your mortgage rate, not just your auto loans, but even now auto and home insurance, they're looking at credit scores. And if you have too little credit, too much credit, the wrong kind of balances on your credit cards, they now hit you over the head and say you have to pay more. And you may not even know you're paying more, but just because you don't have the right profile or the right credit score, you're absolutely paying more.
Now, you mentioned, too, that there are many different kinds of reports. I would think, if you get a report card in school, for instance, you're either a 90 student or an 88 or a 73 or whatever your grade is. But you mentioned that there's informational reports and real score, etc. So even though this is a very short period of time for the show, can you give us a little bit of an overview of that and what we should be aware of when we're hearing and looking at them?
Yeah, so as you mentioned in the very beginning, your listeners should have a pad and pencil ready to go to take notes. Most people, if I said, go find a credit report, get an accurate credit report, the same one that lenders use, they're going to go to like a Credit Karma or Credit Sesame or even the 3 credit bureaus. In reality, the 3 credit bureaus paid fines of $25 million each last year for falsely advertising that the same reports that they were selling you were the same ones the banks were using. It all got lost in the mix because of the Equifax hack. People lost their minds over that, but they didn't see that the bureaus were also selling you garbage. So I'm going to tell you the website where you can get the same report that lending institutions use. It's www.itdoesn'tfriggin'exist.com.
and I'm writing it down like a dope.
See? Because they don't want you to have this system. And we get into the book how you can actually get your hands on a real report. And I'll tell you how you know it's a real report. If there is an impact to your credit in the form of an inquiry, it is a real credit report. Whenever you see something that says, this is a soft pull on your credit, it won't impact your credit whatsoever, that means it's considered a consumer education report, a.k.a. garbage. It's worth nothing. And you could walk into a bank and say, here's my Credit Karma credit report with the Credit Karma score of an 800, and they're going to laugh at you and say, we can't use that. Consumer education reports exist to educate you out of your money, not to actually give you an idea of what your FICO score looks like.
Anthony, make a great point. You say that, and I'm seeing this more and more, that your credit score is like playing a game with no rules or instructions, but we're supposed to know if we're supposed to get the ball over the goal line or into the basket or over the fence for a home run. Is that kind of the way this is laid out? Because it sounds crazy.
I know, it does sound crazy unless you think of it from this whole thing is meant to make money off of us, and they don't want you to know how it works. So most people erroneously assume that because they pay their bills on time, that they must have great credit, when that's only 35% of your FICO score, and the other 65% has nothing to do with whether you pay your bills on time. I know that sounds insane, but that is the way the system is set up. And that 65% is the most powerful part, and it's the part that you have under control the most, yet people have no idea how it impacts their overall credit score.
Anthony, I want to take a second to let our audience know if they did not hear it before, and again, if you didn't hear it before, you didn't hear me say have a pencil or pen handy, you will want to get this information down because it's going to save you a ton of money. Our guest today is Anthony Davenport, Davenport. His book is simply 2 words, Your Score, Y-O-U-R, and the word score. And Anthony's going to tell us where it's available and if there's a website where we can find out some more information.
Yeah, so I have a website created as a resource for the book. It's my name, AnthonyMDavenport.com. M as in Michael. The book is available in a lot of different places. Amazon, of course. We made a top 100 bestseller list for a bit. It's available at Barnes & Noble, and it's also available at a bunch of independent bookstores. So pretty much you just Google Anthony Davenport and Your Score, and you'll see a whole bunch of places where you can get it.
And just some of the information to our audience that you're going to hear from Anthony throughout our show today. You're going to amaze people. They're going to say, that can't be right. You're wrong. So you're going to want to be able to reference this book because it is shocking when there's a game with no rules, and we're getting, to be honest, screwed on it. There's something wrong with this system, and yet you, I think, point out later on that one of your clients, and I think just pretty much a regular client, the difference between knowing their right score and what the institution was trying to give them was $400 or $500 a month on their mortgage payment, which translates to over $5,000 a year, and most mortgages being 30 years. That's a lot of money. So if you're interested in saving that money, listen to what Anthony says. Anthony, now, did I get this right? Because this one, I'm sure I made a mistake. 90% of credit reports are inaccurate?
Yeah. It's rare that I find a credit report that is fully accurate. Everything spot on to the T.
I mean, that's 90%, 9 out of 10. I'm going back to my old grade school math, but that's astounding. I mean, what other profession would we allow that? I mean, even someone sweeping the sidewalk, if they didn't get the dirt 9 out of 10 times, would say, you're not too good. We're going to fire you or something. And much less an accountant, a teacher, a doctor, psychiatrist, anybody else. So 90% are incorrect. And I think, again, I like numbers, but I think I read in your book something like almost 1/3 of the people really never assess their credit, never look at it. Is that?
Don't ever take a look at it. But here's the reason why the system is so flawed and there's that many errors with credit reports. You have to realize, and I'm going to quote John Oliver here, when you walk into KFC, you're thinking of yourself as the customer buying the bucket of chicken. But in reality, you are the chicken in the bucket being sold. So the credit bureaus, they make their money off of collecting data on you, everything from your salary to your age to your assets to your employers. I mean, all these different things they collect, and then they sell it on you. So they don't really care about how accurate the information is. They just care about selling it. And as they proved last year, they don't care about protecting that data either. They only care about collecting this information and then selling it. So if a customer of theirs, which their real customer is like a Macy's or a Visa or American Express, if they tell them something about you and it's inaccurate, they don't care. They're going to say the customer is always right. And that's the way they're going to approach this whole system.
And I guess it's worth it to them. They're making enough that there's $25 million fines or whatever they paid. That's just a cost of doing business.
That's a drop in the bucket. They make billions every year. So they'll go ahead and continue to advertise and say whatever they want, making people believe that the reports they're selling are accurate and the same as the banks are using. And they don't even have to protect our data. Out of this whole hearings and everything that happened, nothing is going to happen to Equifax. No fines, no change in the way that they're protecting our data or collecting it or dealing with the mistakes. Nothing. Zilch. Nada.
Anthony, this has been already so interesting. We're at a point where we have to take a brief break, but we want our audience to know we're going to be coming back, and I'm going to say it for the third time. If you didn't get that pen out or the pencil handy, have it out. You're going to want to write down some of the things that Anthony's saying to you and letting you know, and especially where you can get the book called Your Score by our guest, Anthony Davenport. At this point in the show, I'd like to remind our listeners that you're listening to The Secrets of Success. My name is Bill Horan. This show is produced at the studios of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. We'll be right back after this brief intermission.
I'm a college student and could use advice about my student loan.
I had to leave school and go to work. Now I have to pay back student loans for a degree I don't have. Fortunately, I found assistance.
Back in college, I figured they wouldn't lend me more than I could easily pay back. Boy, was I wrong. Thankfully, I got the help I needed to pay back my loan in full.
Sound familiar? The good news is that student loan repayment options are available. We're the NFCC, the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, a nonprofit organization with member offices nationwide that provide comprehensive financial reviews and student loan counseling. NFCC certified consumer credit counselors provide one-on-one financial counseling and can help you evaluate options for making student loan payments, reducing interest, debt consolidation, or even loan rehabilitation. Call 877-406-6322 or visit us online at studentloanhelp.org.
Welcome back. You're listening to The Secrets of Success. My name is Bill Horan, and today we're speaking with Anthony Davenport, author of Your Score. Anthony, before the break, I thought you said something about employers wanting a credit score.